Hi YouTubers, my name is Nick and I bring to you yet another Bluetti solar generator video. There's lots of them out there, but I have had a few curious questions about these particular products and really what they're capable of. So the purpose of this video is to tell you just a little bit about this particular product, which is Bluetti's EB70. This is kind of like a 700 watt battery in a box, and depending on how you use it, depends on how long, how much runtime you actually get from it. This particular unit has a wireless charger in the top of it. You've got USB-C ports, which if you buy a C-to-C cable, you can run a laptop fairly efficiently directly from these. You've got your typical USB-A. You've got your 12 volt barrel connectors, charge port, cigarette lighter port, and you've got an inverter which will give you your 110 volt outlet. I've actually found these pretty good at running our chest freezer and our small upright refrigerator without too much of an issue. And then we've got a flashlight up here as well. Now the 700 watt battery, now I've watched quite a few YouTube videos on these as well. Hobotech, Will Prowse, just to name a few good YouTubers that are out there. Some of their tests, they get maybe sort of about 80% battery capacity out of this thing. So for me, that basically means that the 700 or so watts becomes more like 500 watts by the time you factor in things like the inefficiencies of whatever load that you're drawing from here. This unit's not really going to let you, run the battery down to 0% anyway, just for the longevity of the battery. So it kind of got me thinking, what can you really do with 500 watts in a box? And we'll find out together. But basically what I want to find out today is whether we can cook a meal for 4 people with this using what little sunlight that we have today and using the 500 watts that's already in here. So today we are going to be making barbecue spare ribs, and if we have enough energy left over out of this thing, then we might even try doing a side serving of rice to go with it. Anyway, so what I'm going to do is to get my ingredients together, and then we can time lapse this whole video for you. But I'll get the ingredients together first, and then I can show you what's going to go into our rib recipe for today. Anyway, I'll be back in a moment. So how we're going to cook these spare ribs is pretty simple, really. We're going to use this slow cooker, and when I tested it, this only draws about 70 watts of power. So in theory, if we were to go by Bluetti's maximum, 700 watts, this thing should be able to run 10 hours. Now we know that we're not going to get 100% of the battery capacity out of it, so we should be good for at least 5-6 hours. We have a little bit of intermittent sunshine today, and so the hope is at least that we'll be able to make the most of what little energy that we can produce today. So around me I have a few ingredients with me. So on this plate here we have finely chopped onions and some squashed garlic clove. Here I've got my ribs, which is just seasoned with salt and pepper. And the only other ingredient that we really need is probably about half a pint of water. And then the sauce basically goes on at the end. So not to endorse Jack Daniel's barbecue sauce, but I figured I would give it a try. I was a little bit lazy and I didn't think I'd have much time today to prepare my own. So let's go put all this stuff together. Start with the ribs first of all, which we'll put that into our slow cooker. It's going to be a little bit of a squash to get it in there. We'll throw our onions and garlic down in the middle. And let's put the water down there as well. And then the next stage really is just to put the lid on, and then we'll take this downstairs, plug it into our Bluetti device, and and then we'll see what we end up with at the end of the day. Anyway, see you in a short while. And just to show you, I can actually get the lid on now after having to make some adjustments to those ribs, and now the lid fits on perfectly. Just to let you folks know, this was half a rack of ribs that's actually in here, so it's a kind of a tight squeeze, but we managed to get them in just fine. So now I'm going to move over to where the Bluetti is connected to our solar panels, and we'll plug this thing in, leave it run for the day. The number at the top there on the watt meter is what we are generating from the solar panels outside, so we're clocking about 129, 130 watts coming in, and then we are consuming 74, 75 watts using the slow cooker or crock pot. So that's kind of where we're at the moment. We're cooking nicely. We've still got a few hours to go. So once we get to around 4 or 5 o'clock, assuming there's enough energy in this Bluetti EB70S, then we should be able to cook some a side order of rice with this as well. So this is intended to feed 4 of us today. So as I suspected, we are coming to the end of the battery on the EB70S, even though we got a little bit of sunlight today. So we've had to bring my Bluetti EB3A into the mix, and that battery was also full at the start of this, so we might just have enough power between these 2 units to actually make or cook the ribs and also the rice. So this has been going now for almost 8 hours. So we've done pretty well really, and the weather today has been really variable, so we haven't had a whole lot of sunshine. We've had to rely on both of these batteries being 100% charged. We just turned down the power actually on the slow cooker, so we might just limp to the end of this before it cuts out altogether. So there we have it, barbecue spare ribs, rice. We've got some sauce to add to these ribs in a little while, but they should be ready soon.